Welcome to Hollywood Impact. My name is Eric Grubbs. To my right, Christian McCrite.
Good morning, and might I say, what a wonderful day.
What a wonderful day.
Play that clip. Play it.
What a wonderful day!
So we are talking about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a movie that came out about 2 weeks ago-ish. So we're a little bit late to this. We apologize. But after the trilogy of the Planet of the Apes films that just recently came out, this one is about new characters. It takes place 300 years later, where there are very few humans left on the Earth, and those that are there
They're unable to speak.
Yeah, they're unable to speak, and apes have now gone separate into tribes, and they've kind of taken over the world.
Yeah.
And so we follow Noah, who is trying to navigate his way around this new world as he learns new things about the past, about mankind, about all this stuff, as well as kind of going on a revenge quest of sorts.
Yeah.
Or like a rescue thing. But anyways, your thoughts?
Well, I had to I rewatched the original, the Caesar trilogy is what I'm going to call it.
Okay.
And I forgot how good those movies were. They're really good.
They're really good.
And then I realized that I actually didn't even watch War of the Planet of the Apes. I'm like, I've never seen this. It just got lost.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking, this original Caesar trilogy, I'd say it's arguably one of the best sci-fi trilogies out there.
It is.
I mean, I'm not going out on a limb and saying the best, but it's in the conversation.
I don't think that's a hot take by any means.
It's not?
No, I don't think so. I think most people think, at least most people who like sci-fi films for sure, think that it's a great franchise.
Well, it's
sure.
way better than The Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
Many of these just fall off. They get progressively worse, but these three I felt got progressively better.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just, and two, it's just another example. Why do people have to be such just douchebags?
Such negative Nancy's.
Why, Draco Malfoy in the first one? I'm like, bro, you could have prevented this whole thing if you weren't such a dick to these apes.
Yeah.
And it's why can't we just all be cool to each other in case this really happens? Because this is another world I don't want to live in. I don't want to live in the Planet of the Apes.
No.
I've been camping once as an adult. I'm like, this sucks.
He's like, I hate this.
I'm like, I need a shower immediately. So I don't want to live in this kind of world.
Concrete jungle's the only jungle for me, brother.
Yes, man, I tell you. But no, this is a new movie. It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
Yeah.
I thought, I was so excited whenever the trailer dropped. I thought this was one of my most anticipated films of this year.
Yeah, because
I love the Planet of the Apes movies, and when Rise first came out, I was like, it's good. It was just different. And at that point, I had not seen the originals.
Yeah,
I had maybe seen the 2001 version or the 1999
one.
Yeah, the from
Tim
forever
Burton.
ago. Yeah, and it was so weird.
It's very Tim Burton-y.
Well, he's got some things to work out, I think, in his life.
Yeah,
not in a disrespectful way. Sorry, but it was so strange. And then Dawn came out, and I was like, "This looks pretty cool." So we went and watched it, and I'm like, "This is awesome."
Yeah,
how did this go from yeah, this is okay. It's kind of a niche, kind of not obscure, but a little under the radar franchise to this is one of the best franchises that are out here.
Well, it'd been so long. The original franchise started in 1968 with Charlton Heston, and it was people in these costumes to look like monkeys. So then when Mark Wahlberg's and Tim Burton's movie came out, it's still people in the suits. So when Dawn came out, and it's this technology is amazing.
Gosh.
We're looking at real looking apes doing this, not people dressed up as apes or anything, and I think that makes all the difference in the world.
But there's so much, they use a lot of motion capture. So a lot of these apes are being played by real people,
right?
But they're moving around.
You can't
as
tell.
Apes. You could not tell.
You really can't tell.
And the actors they choose for this, like, I keep thinking, like, oh, I guess they could just choose anybody. I don't really believe that. Because at first I was like, oh, it's motion capture, they're doing a lot of voice acting. You can, I guess, just kind of choose anybody, but you really have to enunciate things in a certain way to really pull this kind of stuff off. And they are fantastic at it. And this movie has some of the best visual effects up to date. Like, this movie looks real.
Yeah, it does.
Like, there are times where I'm like, I think they're actually climbing that mountain.
I've got a little bit of a thing with heights. I'm not a big fan of, like, big heights.
Sure.
And I'm just glad I did not watch this in IMAX, because those scenes where they're climbing to the top of the tree or the whatever, and they're looking down, and it's like,
heart racing?
Dude, it's like my knees get a little weak. You know what I mean? Just because it does. It looks so real. And it's like, you know, at the end where they're at the edge of something, I'm like, dude, move. You're too close to the edge. You're making me nervous.
He's like, stop it. Stop it.
But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, everything looks like it is just happening in, like, the real world.
And it's a different movie because this movie is so much different than the other three.
It is.
It is a different tone. It's a different style. The director they chose was Wes Ball, which he did the Maze Runner series. I read the books, but the movies I thought were just eh. So whenever that was announced, I was like, that's kind of a strange choice for a director. I'm like, Matt Reeves is like one of the best ones out there right now. Like, why would you move on? But you can see why, because this director had a different vision for this franchise, and I was on board for it. Whereas, like, these first three is like the coming of age of, like, of Caesar. He's going from this this sort of pet-like creature to, like, this, like, king of ape nation sort of, and then it moves on from that to this film is about Noah, and he's like navigating this world where he meets Proximus Caesar, and it's more of a talk on religion. Yeah, you know, like, very strong religious subtext to this entire movie, for sure.
Well, when they mention Caesar, he's almost mentioned in, like, almost a Christ-like way, I guess.
But that's what I was thinking.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I was kind of nervous going into this because no Andy Serkis as the motion caption actor, and with Matt Reeves, but what these guys did with it, like the guy that played Noah, his name Owen Teague.
Owen Teague, yeah.
Like, his voice just worked.
Yeah.
Just the way he spoke and his cadence in which he spoke, I just thought was really good.
Yeah. I would love to just see how, I guess I should just watch all the behind the scenes and all that, because I would really love to, like, be there whenever they're filming this and see the pieces of that come together. But then he meets, there's the orangutan, just like, what was his name? Maurice.
Yeah.
Now there's like a different version of him.
Raka.
It's Raka.
Yeah.
And he's really good. Yeah. He has a very good story, and he's more of like the lens that we get into, like, the fable of Caesar.
Yeah.
And I just like the way they put all this together. The direction is great. The landscape is really like it just looks so real. And it's like, oh, this actually used to be, like, the world in which humans lived. And they make, like, homes out of, like, trees and a broken down, like, Titanic looking ship, and so cool. The places they go are really cool. The concepts that are used. I think this is an extremely solid movie for this franchise.
And for me, it's the first one that actually pays a lot of homage to the original 1968 one.
Yeah.
Like, you could see on the beach, like, the things that were out like this, that's directly from that movie.
Yeah.
The way they capture the humans with nets and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, this is like what the Planet of the Apes, the original one.
Yeah, it's like gone back full circle.
Sure.
Like, now we're back here.
Yeah.
So.
And Proximus Caesar, cool. Kevin Durant.
Yeah, Kevin Durant.
He does an outstanding job. I mean, just the way he speaks and stuff like that. It was really very charismatic.
He was a very cool villain. Was he as good as Koba? I don't know. Koba was
so much. He had a lot of anger and was more menacing.
Well, his story is way different,
right? Yeah,
because he's more of like he has personal trauma like with humans, and so his deal is I want to wipe them all out because I think they're all evil. Whereas Proximus, he doesn't think that humans are evil necessarily. He sees things from like a historical perspective. So you know what? We're going into spoiler territory right now. Okay. So because we've talked about kind of this synopsis of this film, but we're going to get into spoiler territory right now. So here is your warning. Proximus Caesar. He has, his not his companion, but like his servant, who is a person.
William H. Macy.
William H. Macy.
Yeah.
I still can't. I always think of him as the guy from Jurassic Park 3, the weird dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's. I know he's on Sons of Anarchy, isn't he?
I don't know.
But that's all I think about. And he didn't play as big of a role as I thought, but he was an interesting like lens into the world of he is essentially giving up the fight. And he's like, I'm going to be basically this person's puppet.
Yeah.
And now Proximus is using him to learn more about the world and its context, because Proximus is like, well, the humans' time is over. Like now it's clearly our time. So if it is our time, should we not have access to further our evolution? Well, so I get it. I get where he's coming from. Yeah. It's not like his intentions were purely evil. He went about it, and he has like very like psychopathic tendencies.
Yeah, he wants to learn. He wants to learn from like the great human rulers. Like, wasn't there a bunch of books on the Roman Empire that he was having read to him, and just the word Proximus itself, I think is probably of Roman origin. Right. I don't know, but yeah, he was a different kind of, not just. He felt like he was above humans. He wasn't concerned with humans, I don't think. No. He just wanted to advance his self, his evolution.
Yeah.
However he said it. Evolution.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was just a lot more depth than Koba, I guess.
I think so as well. But it was interesting because Koba and Caesar were like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Whereas like they're both dealing with what humans have done, but Caesar's like, oh well, we should be, graceful and merciful, but yet show an iron fist when we need to. Whereas Koba was like, nah, f that.
Like, let's just kill them all. I'm pissed.
he's like, I want to shoot them all with their own guns.
Yeah.
And Proximus is just way different because he has clear goals that aren't bad goals, but when he doesn't get what he wants, then all of a sudden he's like, I'll kill you. I don't care. But which I think makes him a really good villain. But so like most of the story like revolves around how Proximus wiped out most of the entire place that Noah came from, the Eagle clan.
Yeah.
Captured a lot of their people, killed their king, which was his dad, and now he's on a quest to reclaim his people. And on the way, he encounters.
Well, they call her Nova.
They call her Nova, but her name is May.
May.
Played by Freya Allen, and she can speak.
Yeah, very clearly.
Like
I've got some thoughts on her a little bit later.
Okay.
But, it meets May, and then they go to this. They go to Proximus Caesar, and we're trying to find out what's behind this big giant vault.
Yeah.
And
she knows.
She knows.
Yeah.
But it's like, how does she know?
Yeah, I guess. Like, and how many? She said her mom taught her to speak, right? Or her mom.
Her mom taught her
not to speak, but they could, which leads me to believe that there still are a lot of humans that maybe could speak that just don't for fear. But I'm also assuming that most of them just can't in general due to the past few movies. But they learn that in this vault is tanks, weapons, guns. But the most important thing was she had to get the communicator that allowed them to communicate with other humans who could speak perfect English on the other side of the world or wherever they're at. But one of the most important things I thought was in there, which I thought would be the key to their evolution was not the guns or the tanks, but the books. The books, the children's books that could have taught them to read. And then all of a sudden, that line from old humanity to like new ape, like, is blurred, because like even though the apes still rule the earth, they still have to be read to. They can't read. And our ability to read and create language is what separates us from the rest of the creatures on earth today.
Yeah.
And so now that they could speak it, not only can they speak it, because there are birds who can relatively speak, they can imitate, but the ability to read, that is something that would completely turn the world upside down.
Well, I felt Noah had the idea that maybe humans and apes did live together in harmony, but not smart apes and humans. And they never have lived in harmony together again. So when he's going through that book and he realized, well, we were pets, we were shows.
Yeah.
You know, we were just on display. I think that was really probably pretty heart-wrenching for him to understand that.
Yeah.
You know, we've never really been on the same side with humans.
Right. And he makes a good point near the end of the movie where he says, like, why would, like, I don't share the sentiment that Proximus shares, but why would I still want to go back to that?
Yeah.
Like, if that gift was given to you, why would you want that gift to go away? And that makes total sense. Like, I get that. Is that a scary thought? Like, sure, like for us humans, but in that context, 100% get it. Makes sense.
A couple of nitpicks.
Sure, go ahead.
How did May know how to do all the stuff?
Like how to wire up the
she
stuff.
She knew where to go. I mean,
she
knew exactly where to go. Everything works as perfect.
I don't know.
Like, is she part of this human group? Like, I've got some theories. You want to hear some theories?
I want to hear some theories.
Let's hear. I'll tell you how I could see this saga continuing.
Okay.
All right. So hear me out a little bit.
Okay.
From Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, we're still missing the space shuttle, right?
Okay. Yep.
All right. So at the end, since we are talking spoilers now, there's a scene where both May and Noah in separate locations are like looking up to the stars.
Okay.
What if some way this space shuttle, maybe it already has landed back on Earth, or maybe it's going to, goes through a wormhole, whatever. All right, so you could have a couple of movies just based on that. But then they developed the technology to make the apes like they were. So then, in order to escape that, Noah and what was his girlfriend's name? Suna. They escape back on the shuttle and go back in time to Earth. And at the very end, they're given this injection. Now, this is where I'm going to get wild. Okay. So they're back to regular apes.
Okay, wait. Okay, so they're given the injection, and now they are regular apes again.
They're regular apes again. So now, like in the original Planet of the Apes, you need to understand that Cornelius and Zero were the two main characters.
Yeah.
Okay? And they all still, like, Caesar was their leader. Well, they go back in time and to like present day Earth, and they have a son. That son's name was Caesar. So my idea is for Noah and Suna to go back, but then become regular apes, but then she gives birth.
So, like, are they captured?
Yeah, they're captured.
Because they're different, obviously.
Yeah, because they're different. They're given the injection, but, you know, before they're given the injection, Suna's pregnant, so then she gives birth to Caesar.
And then the cycle just...
And it's just a big circle. Because I look at Noah and I'm like, dude, he's got to be either some kind of relation to Caesar.
Yeah.
Because did you notice, like, the scar, like, on his chest, kind of like the birthmark kind of thing? Like, I saw that and I'm like, he's got to be some kind of descendant of Caesar.
I didn't make any, like huge note of that, but that's pretty... That's interesting.
Yeah, because if you look at Caesar's chest, you can see there's some kind of deformity, birthmark, whatever it is. And it looks to me, that Noah's got that same thing.
And because they use so many different kinds of apes in the movies, if you look at his parents, like, clearly I don't think his father would have been from that line of people. It seemed like his mother would be from that line of people.
Could have been.
Because she looks more like a Caesar type Ape because his father's more like much like darker hair, more grayed out, where he looks more like a standard chimpanzee. And that would be really cool.
I just feel like there's got to be some way. There's got to be a connection, well, in my opinion.
There's a lot of people who call this film the New Hope of this franchise.
Sure, I can see that.
And I feel like it would be a good direction to take if eventually he figures out, I'm trying to figure out about the legacy of Caesar, and it turns out I'm related to this guy.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like a new coming of age. He's becoming the next Caesar, taking on his specific leadership roles of grace and mercy, but also strictness, and coming into his own with that. I think that would be super cool. And the best part is, you could do a lot with this franchise.
Oh, sure.
This franchise could go in so many different directions, and right now, I'm pretty happy with where it's going.
Well, they could go into I've read something where they have a plan for possibly 9 movies. I mean, they could go into the future too and see
they could do all sorts of stuff.
So much stuff. It's pretty limitless, the options they have here with this.
They could do like something similar to I think it was Planet of the Apes 4 or 5. Can't remember exactly which one, but one of the old ones where like they go back into like the future, and it's like New York, but they're all like apes and gorillas, and they're dressed up in police officer uniforms.
Yeah.
They could do something like that. There's so many directions this could go, but focusing on this one's pretty good.
It is.
I think if I had any nitpicks, it would be the same ones. Like, how did May know how to do X, Y, and Z? How did she know X, Y, and Z? How did she know where to go, what to do, how well to speak? How many people can speak in her tribe? And if that's the case, like, why don't they dress differently, act differently?
Yeah.
Like, I guess maybe for fear's sake, but what's more shameful and fear-inducing than reducing yourself to your basic instincts?
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like I would have preferred if they would have kept Raka. Or Rafa.
Yeah, Raka.
Yeah, I wish they would have kept him around. I feel like
maybe he's still out there.
I guess his purpose was to give the object of carrying on Caesar's legacy to Noah, and I get that, but I kind of wish that he was still around.
I like the wise mentor character.
Yeah,
and that's what
I
he
do
was.
too. And I feel like Noah is really different from Caesar, although he shares some of his stuff. He's still pretty young,
he's young.
He acts a little different. He's not afraid to kind of throw down if he needs to, that sort of thing. He's a very different person. He's still learning his way around this world. So I feel like having that character would have helped. But then again, Ben died in A New Hope, so maybe we're seeing some parallels here.
That's
I don't
true.
know. But what would you rate this movie out of 10?
Out of 10, it's pretty good. For me, it was a little long.
It is a little bit long.
It's a little bit long, and I know this is like the old man in me talking, but like for any movie that's 2.5 hours in the theater, can we not have like an intermission, please?
Wow. Oh, wow.
Like, please, just 5 minutes. Because it's like I can't order anything because I don't want to have to get up, and I'll go to the bathroom right before the movie starts, and then I'm fighting it. Anyway, just a little side note. Wow. AMC, let's have 5 minutes on these really long movies. Out of 10, I'm going to give it an 8. It's a solid 8. It's good.
Solid 8?
Yeah.
I got to really think. I did not think about this beforehand on what rating I was going to give it. I was kind of just going to let it come to me. I'm going to go with a 9.
9?
I love this movie.
Okay.
This is really good. My nitpicks about this are small in comparison to the things that I love about this movie.
Sure.
And if you asked me, like, hey, let's go watch this in the theater right now, like right after this, I'd be like, I'm down.
It's one that if I did go back and watch, I'd consider watching in IMAX too.
Yeah.
I think it's that kind of movie.
For that scary height stuff.
That scary height stuff, yeah.
Getting the heart racing. All right, so those are our ratings.
Yeah. It took you a little while to conjure up your...
to conjure. Well, I was just thinking, like, I about said 8.5, and I'm like, well, I really like this movie.
Dude.
And I think the more I think on it, the more I like it.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Solid film. Go see it, guys.
So anyways, if you like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. But as always, have a good one, and we will see you all later.
See ya.